Okay, so again, we have our quadratic function, our very basic one. And this time, when we're flipping it over the y-axis, only the x becomes negative, not the whole function. So if I put in f of negative x, I replace the x with a negative x. And that's what I get. And if I multiply negative x times negative x, that gives me a positive x squared. Okay? So f of x equals x squared also equals the same function where it's reflected over the y-axis. And that makes sense. If I graph this and I were to reflect this over the y-axis, if I were to go like that, you would get the same thing, and that's why this works like this. All right, lastly, we have vertical stretches and shrinks. And we have just kidding. We have f of x equals x squared. And if I'm just gonna throw a constant out there in the front, a scalar, then this is just gonna be a times x squared. So that one's pretty straightforward too. All right, so let's look at this. It says describe the transformation of x squared represented by g, then graph each function. Okay, so what is going on here? Well, we've got two things going on. We've got a negative out front, and we also have 1/2. So this is being reflected over the x-axis, and it's also being shrunk by a factor of 1/2. So the original function, we graph that. This one is going to be reflected over the x-axis. I should put this in Desmos. That's really what I should do. Okay? And I flip it upside down. So it's going to stretch out a little bit. Okay? So it's going to look like that. All right. So I want you to try this one. Let me erase so you can see okay. All right, so here it is. Go ahead and give that a try. Okay, so what is it that's going on? We've got, it says describe the transformation and then graph each function. So what's happening here? Well, I see that this is in parentheses, so I know that this is a horizontal translation. It's a horizontal shift by 1, and it's going to be moving to the right. So this is moved 1 unit to the right. Because remember when I talked about how it does the opposite of what it looks like? Okay. And then it is stretched by a factor of 3. So the original function, again, will look like this, something like that. And then this is moved over to the right 1, so right here, and then it is going to get big really fast. So it stretches, remember stretch and shrink. Stretch and shrink down. All right, I hope that helps. Okay, I am going to cover this next part in the next video.